Matt told me that I was allowed to. Well, yeah, so Matt was like, Ian, talk about anything. I know that you're a very reserved person, so it's going to be very deep personal questions. Very intrusive.
Yes.
And, potentially incriminating. So, just be honest. Truth will set you free and all that. All right. So does anyone have any questions to start off? Like, is there any questions that anybody had for these folks? Because you have close to what? I don't know. I'm not going to age everybody, but you have decades of experience.
Easily. 3,000 years of experience combined.
Easily.
So whoever wants to answer, how did you guys get into the paranormal?
Yeah, so that's actually was going to be one of my questions as well. It's a really good thing. A lot of folks come to our events and come to different events like this, very interested in getting involved, getting groups together, getting into groups. How did you guys get started? I guess we'll, since he's in the throne, start with Matt.
That's what I said. It's not even that comfortable. It needs to be leaned back. I grew up, and this is going to be a short version because I will talk way too long. My grandparents lived next door to me, and their house was haunted. I grew up knowing the ghosts were real. It was accepted in my family. No one ever said that that's not real. I never had any experiences in that house, but they told me all the stories, and I do believe that it was my great-grandmother's spirit because she had passed in the house. As a grown-up, I realized that's probably who it was. But my Nana would buy me anything I wanted. She was that person. And whenever we go, I love going to the store with Nana. And she would buy me anything, so I would always ask for all the horror movies, VHS tapes, everything. That started my love of horror, and then the Ghostbusters and things like that. It just kind of transitioned into the paranormal. And as I got older, I started having some kind of head scratching, what if moments, like what is that? And started reading books, and then the ghost hunting shows came out. I realized I wasn't really alone, and just started researching and investigating more. And that's the shortest version I've ever told that story.
I like that. I think kind of similar. I have two older sisters who are 10 and 7 years older than I am. So when my sister was 16 and I was 6, I was watching Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, Evil Dead. We watched all the great classics. So mine probably started with scary movies. I don't know if there was one pivotal moment though for me. I just found myself in the paranormal. I think it's just always been an interest. My mom was really into the spiritual world, psychics, numerology, astrology. So that probably played into it. I think it's just a natural flow. So I don't have that one story that many people have. Did it grow up in a haunted house? I don't know. There were a couple things that I can look back at now and say that was odd. But I don't think I realized it at that time. So probably a little bit steered by my sisters and my mom. So.
Joe.
I'll have the shortest story out of everybody. I just want to see if the TV shows are full of shit or not. That's what never had a paranormal experience until I got into the paranormal.
All right, Rob.
Well, I'll keep it short. 2005, my daughter was born. My dad was sick. He lived with us. I wasn't a non-believer, but I wasn't out looking for it. In 2008, things got bad. But because they lived together, my daughter and my father's only granddaughter got really, really close. Like, they were best friends to the point where I would get jealous sometimes. She wanted to hang out with him instead of me. But then he got really sick, and in 2008 he passed, and my kid knew. My kid knew that day that he was gone, and we chose not to tell her, but she still knew. Then weird shit started happening around the house. Started with noises. She was playing with him. Started seeing things. It's crazy. It was just crazy. Finally, everybody in the family at one point was like, all right, this is it. So that kind of piqued my curiosity. So I started going on investigations, which was not fun doing it solo, right? It's kind of how, for me, Get Haunted was born. But it sucked because nobody wanted to come with me, and then a lot of the teams or groups I went out with did not make it feel inclusive. So it's kind of the weird guy by myself there with a video camera. And prior to that, I had spent a good 20 years in a weird engineering / marketing position. trying to prove things to the rest of the world all day long. Proving things, right? And here's this thing that I cannot explain, and it drove me out of my mind trying to understand what I was experiencing. If this was really my dad, what my daughter was going through. She's only 2 at the time, 2.5. So once you start looking, you start getting.
You start finding.
Yeah, you find things. It may not be answers, but it certainly got me going. So here we are, however many years that is later, and this is it. It's all I do.
Cool. So you guys all kind of talk about just different experiences and how that really has kind of shaped and really kind of inspired your movement, right? Like yours was the lack of, and you wanted to find what was out there. Everybody else kind of had those previous experiences. As you've come through the field and as you've had new experiences that have either built upon or torn down certain ideas and certain approaches, what is your preferred method of an investigation? Like, how do you like to approach a location or a particular investigation, or however you want to kind of phrase that? Rob, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, mine's morphed over the years, especially since meeting Sarah and learning some things about myself and how those things about myself kind of dictate how we experience paranormal. That's a whole nother show and day. But yeah, I started out probably like everybody else who watches the shows, buying a K2, get a REM pod, get a Blue Bear, whatever. Go out there and try to get the hits. But after some really, really big experiences and some really, really big dilemmas that I had, and then I got a deeper understanding of our connections with the other side. For me, the equipment is far, far less important than it was when I first started. Still have it. Still have like probably 10 grand worth of equipment sitting in the car. No, I'm not telling you what my car is. It's in the parking lot. Exactly.
It's the gunmetal graying.
Yeah, but it's become for me. It's become less about, to me, the equipment's a distraction all day long. It's nice for validation, but for me, it's about being in the environment, experiencing the experience rather than trying to document it. Because I'll tell you what, we can come up with the best photograph. I'm the best EVP capturer on the planet. Then comes Joe. Somebody will
You'll have time to rebuttal.
Somebody will always argue your evidence, and I don't know. To this day, I still don't get what everybody's trying to present to the world, because you're not going to convince everybody. So it becomes more about everybody else than your own experience. So at our events, that's what we try to have people understand. It's just be there, be in the moment, experience it. Stop trying to prove it to everybody. Prove it to yourself, and that's kind of how I approach things now.
All right, Joe, I'm going to hold you to not the shortest story ever.
Okay.
In answering that question.
I like going in cold.
Can you define that?
Ice cold. I don't want to know nothing but the address.
Okay.
Right? That's how I like to go in. Doesn't always work out that way, because some places are well known and, Trans-Allegheny, Rolling Hills Side, there's a history there. But I typically like to go in ice cold.
How does that impact you?
I just don't want to know anything, because I don't want to, if they're talking about little boy Timmy, and I hear something on a recording that might sound like Tim, then it might have been Jim, but I'm gonna go because somebody told me Tim.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I want to try and eliminate that as much as possible. I'd rather try and get my quote unquote audio evidence and then present that to the powers that be and see if that correlates to any of the history. So that's just typically how I like to do it.
Okay. And so now you primarily EVP? Are you an equipment guy? Are you a census guy?
I'm equipment guy, 100%. I think over the years of doing this, I have picked up, I wouldn't call it like a psychic ability, but almost like a sense.
Intuition.
Like a little bit of an intuition, you know what I mean? Which I've never really had prior. It's almost like I know where to put the recorder now, where it's gonna be like a good spot, you know what I mean, stuff like that. What else? Anything else?
Are you done? Yeah, right?
Did I answer it fully or?
All right, Sarah. We have a hostile witness.
I just didn't want to rebuttal against the greatest EVP guy. That's all.
No, he's the EVP.
Well, I don't have any for it.
You know what, I think it does, it morphs, it's been over 25 years for me, so yes, you know, in the beginning, you try to emulate what you see on TV, or teens that you like, but it was mostly teens on TV. And you try to recreate everything that they do, and you wanna go to all those locations, right? You see them on TV, and you're like, I gotta go there, and it's fun, it is. But as I've gotten older, and as I've met more people in the community, to be honest with you, it's going to locations that it's going with the right people. I don't care what location it is. I will say I don't love the popular ones because I tend to be very disappointed. I mean, everybody's got these big experiences, and then I go in there and I get nothing. So for me, it's really about going to, it's places like Hartselle Hall, and then meeting the people inside it. Like being with you guys last night was huge for me.
Could you just say that one more time?
Yes, probably more Paranormal Preservation Society. But it really was. I mean, to me, it's the full experience, and it is something that we say at Get Haunted. You know, we can't promise you a paranormal experience, but it's the experience in the paranormal, and it's everything. It's meeting the people in the community. It's learning new history about a place that you've never heard about. You know, and listening to everybody's styles and thoughts and theories, that's what it truly becomes for me. And so I tend to be a little bit of a voyeur. I love to watch everybody else and what they're doing and how they're experiencing it. And then I think—
It's a different conversation.
I'm just saying.
It's hard to make me uncomfortable, it almost happened.
But, you know, and then that in itself to me, like, I think that settles me and gets me comfortable in a location, and then I have a tendency to then have some experiences. So, but I think it's kind of a natural progression. I think if you're new to the paranormal, you want to go to all the, especially now with YouTube and YouTube stars, like you want to go to all the places they go. It's just natural. But then you do learn that paranormal becomes really, really personal, and what fulfills you. It can get boring to do the same things that you see on TV. I use a little bit of equipment. I'll be the first one to admit I don't know how to use one thing in my toolkit. And that's not, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the reality is we don't really know how this equipment works perfectly with the other side. We don't. We can have our thoughts. So I do like it, but I feel like just being immersed in the location and just feeling out what's gonna come through. Sometimes I'm the lucky recipient, and sometimes I'm not. So, yeah, I like the lesser known locations, I guess, now.
Can I, before you jump to Matt, can I just expand upon something?
Anytime you can interrupt Matt, I'm down for it.
So Sarah said something pretty interesting initially, you know, like it's the group you're with, okay? And I can speak from experience because I volunteer for here, and the Emory Estate, Murdoch, Whitney, and we will take groups of people through the house, and that first group that you could take through will get nothing. That second group comes through, there's an energy there, and you can reverse it. It could be the first group that came through. It's all about the energy of the people. So when you had said that, like, that just hit home.
It makes the experience so much better, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. So, don't have an answer as to why,
Look
but
at parity is happening right here, Joe.
why were we in a fight?
Yes.
We were?
We're like working together. Look at that.
You didn't know yet.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess it's,
They hadn't sent the memo yet?
yeah, no email. So anyway, but just wanted to make that up for the.
I don't even remember the question at this point. No, to echo some of the same sentiments, obviously I also bought every piece of equipment I can get my hands on because I didn't know anything. And now it's all trash, in my opinion. I do like to use a few certain pieces to cross-reference what I'm getting. I love my dowsing rods, the static dome. For whatever reason, my static dome works all the time for me. Pendulums, but bells and whistle stuff is good for events only, in my opinion, because you get the excitable crowd of people. If it's just me trying to just suss out a place, I like to just walk around and listen and feel the energy. I have weird abilities that I don't tap into, but I can feel energy, I can see energy, and that's kind of how I approach investigations. Now, I also like Joe, I don't like to know about a location if I can avoid it, for the same exact reason, because you don't want to be biased walking into the building knowing like, oh, well, this guy was shot on the second floor, oh, I heard a gunshot. You know, that's very, very common. So whenever we do events here, anyone that's done an event here with us or any of the places we've done, I always ask, how much do you want to know or not want to know, so that you're not tainted. But yeah, I mean, now at this point, I like just using myself.
Have you found that as you've been doing this, you've been becoming more in tune with locations, whether they are?
100%.
Yeah, me too.
Like, especially this place, I spend a ton of time here,
Right.
and the spirits know me so well, they also know I hate being here by myself. So that's when they come out. They come out to friggin' walk up the stairs and peek around corners at me and walk and make noise, and it terrifies me, because I don't like being alone here, but I have to sometimes. That's when I'm most in tune with it, because I don't have anything else distracting me at all,
Right.
except the emptiness of the building.
So you've all mentioned not only your own approaches, but kind of you all alluded to this predisposition that you can have going into a location. And you've all mentioned different groups and things like that. So with the proliferation of like the YouTubers and social media folks getting on there, what kind of impact do you think that has had on investigating on the paranormal side over the past few years?
You ready for shit?
Whoa, wow.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Who goes first?
I'll be honest. So we'll start with Joe and Sarah. Do you guys want to fire off first?
Yeah.
Just remember, it's all recorded. It's on live stream.
Yes, we are live.
Even better.
I think it was the worst thing that ever happened to the paranormal community.
Could you elaborate?
Everything's a demon. Do I need to say more?
No, not
Right?
It's all clickbait.
It's all clickbait. I don't even remember what YouTuber told me this, but your thumbnail will say it all, right? Your thumbnail will say it all. So if you don't have something pretty monstrous or hideous in that thumbnail, there's a good chance people aren't clicking on it. That's just fraud right out of the gate and get-go, in my opinion. So yeah, it was probably one of the worst things that had happened. And, you know, it is what it is. Here we are. You know,
live on stream.
live on YouTube, so be it. So be it.
You better put a good thumbnail on this movie.
Yeah, put a demon.
We all have the old face, and we'll insert some demons behind us.
Put some demons.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Rob, looks like you're biting your tongue pretty hard on that.
No, I mean, look, I guess it comes down to this, right? Like there's paranormal, there's entertainment paranormal. To borrow a page out of Sarah's notebook here, like who should we be upset with? The people that create this or the consumers? But to actually answer your question, and I'm not gonna answer that because I don't wanna, it's gonna piss a lot of people off.
Just say I answered it for you.
Joe already. But no, I believe in summer, look, we do, this year, we did 30 some odd events with almost 700 people, if my math is right. And by and large, they were all really, really good. So nobody showed up, you know, with the insanity that you can see on YouTube, which I don't watch. We tend to draw the right people, which has been really, really refreshing for me. So no, I don't watch most of those.
Well, but I think it's a really good distinction you make is the entertainment paranormal versus the genuine paranormal, right? Like there's this kind of balance where you have the thumbnail and the clickbait versus the posting genuine activity or genuine experiences, right?
But I'm also coming at this from a business perspective, right? We sell tickets to events, so I don't think That's our demographic, right? We don't have, the most of our audience are older than the kids that are watching YouTube right now. We might feel that effect a year, 2, 3 from now if they decide to come on public events. But right now, that's not who's coming to our events, from what I can tell. What's funny?
You're being just so.
You're being way too nice.
You're being
I'm
so
impressed,
nice.
honestly, this is.
But I'm not telling, that's not what I'm.
Sarah and I are
not-
gonna burn this town down in 10 seconds.
I felt as though it was a good catalyst.
So everybody understands?
Yeah,
Totally negated everything.
yeah, I'll say it again, I think it's all full of shit.
I didn't.
I love
I
Joe.
was not weighing in on that at all.
That's not my, that is not.
And I hate to put you on
I
the
didn't,
spot.
no, it's okay, but I didn't disagree with you. What I'm saying, you asked the question, what effect has that had on a paranormal?
Yeah.
I'll say it again.
For the people I deal with, I've seen very little effect because they don't seem to be the people that are watching these things, that are gonna spend money to come investigate with us. That's all I'm saying, Joe, and Matt, and Sarah, my former business partner.
Well, I'll answer not as a business, I'll just answer as Sarah in the paranormal.
You're wearing a lot of gear.
I am a lot of here. This is true.
You can put one of those blur things.
Yes.
I hear phones blowing up.
Here's the thing, you know, it's YouTube. They're YouTubers, they have a job. They have one job, and that is to get clicks, that is to get views, that is to get followers. I don't think it's great for the field. I think it's great for social media. I do not think it's great for the field, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I think that it's very short attention span. Most people aren't watching a video all the way through. That is the truth. So they are going on the picture, they're going on the thumbnail, they're reading a description, they're getting a couple fun things, and they're going on their way. But that's misleading. I think that's misleading to the community as a whole, because social media has sort of created this short attention span, and we don't follow through. We hear it, we take it as the word, and we run with it. We do zero research, right? So I think it hurts the field in the sense that for those of us that have really dedicated our time, and we're not dedicating our time, so we do it because we want to be motivated. We want to encourage you to do your own research, to go out there and explore. And I think it's like this double-edged sword to locations, because you get a popular YouTuber in there and they'll get a shit ton of views, but you also leave a negative impact, because it kind of wrecks it for a lot of the other people in the field that might want to go there. I won't name names on YouTube, and I can't if I wanted to. I maybe know a couple, but don't worry. But you know, I think that it's what Rob said. I think there is very much entertainment paranormal. Period. It's entertaining, and I do often say, is it the person that's creating the content, or is it the consumer? We talk about this a lot with women in the paranormal, and I hear women all the time say, well, we don't get the same shot in TV, we don't get the same whatever. Well, guess what? It's heavily women who consume paranormal, so women aren't supporting women. Men aren't doing that to us. Women aren't supporting us. They want to see Zach Bagans. They want to see, you know, they want to see the Matt Warrens. They want to see Rob. They want to see Joe. They don't want to see me. So we blame the people who are creating the content, but we don't blame the consumer. And I think the consumer also is missing out, because you're not getting the real story of paranormal. You're getting this kid's take that just happened to, you know, kids today, like, look, I learned makeup from 17 magazine. You had to sit there and look at magazine page, step 1, step 2. Now you're on YouTube, and what 12-year-old is not a professional makeup artist now? They all do fantastic stuff, right? So now kids are out there, young people are out there watching these YouTubers, and now suddenly they're paranormal specialists, they're paranormal, they're researchers, they're the professional. In the meantime, we've all busted our balls in the community, and we don't get the same respect. So let's talk about it. There's another convention going on. People will line up for those YouTubers all day long, and they will pay to get an autograph.
It's all about unity.
Alright,
So,
Sarah,
Sarah, you're getting some love here.
last weekend, Warren's Paranormal, okay? The line for the YouTubers was 3 times the line to the ghost hunters. The actual Jason Hawes, Steve Gonzalez. If that doesn't say it all, nothing else does. Next question.
But I need 30 seconds. I did not. We were talking about this from very different angles here.
Yeah.
First, when you said the paranormal, I'm thinking in general, right? At least the people I go with. I agree with everything y'all are saying. Calm down.
Matt, I think you spoke.
I think I'm gonna move on to the next question.
No, this is a good one. This is a good one. My point was, to everybody's point there, yeah, that shit's real. But at the same time, we are finding people that are genuinely interested and genuinely showing up.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Sarah, just to let you know, there are people on here saying they would love to watch you.
Freaks.
I'd Corey check those.
All right, Matt.
I'm at it in 5 minutes or less. I know you won't.
The YouTubers are the scourge of the earth. I hate them. I hate what they've done to the field. As people, I don't care what you do, but the problem is that they've created this entertainment that now the average Joe thinks that's what ghost hunting is. And they come out to one of our events that's realistic and they're like, this is boring. It's like, no, it's not boring, it's just not fake. Like all that shit you watch on YouTube when you're on the shitter. That's the problem. And these people aren't spending, I don't either anymore. I don't spend 8 hours in the building, 3 hours and going to bed. But these people are going out and just taking snippets and clips and making shit up and putting it in packaging on YouTube in a shiny turd and then presenting it as evidence, and people eat it up and they buy that up. And then the legit people, whether you want to call myself and some others legit or not, is up to you, but we're trying to present actual factual experiences, and people don't want that anymore because of the short attention span of theater. And you can blame TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, yeah, they suck.
Alright, so.
I know so many of them I just dislike. I'm not gonna name names yet. I haven't had enough to drink.
Alright, so next question. So there's definitely some negative perspective on what social media has done to the credibility of the industry. I'm going to challenge everybody to really kind of bring out a positive there, because I feel like for me, being relatively new in the field, it's actually given me line of sight on credible folks. Because for me, I can take a look at somebody's page and see a 4.5 minute video of, we investigated this entire location, and you're giving me a 4-minute video, as opposed to some of the other channels where they're coming out with a 2-hour video or a 90-minute video or a 4-hour video or an extensive live stream, where it almost fosters a higher level of credibility because they are willing to go into that longer format. They are willing to show those times between without all of these jump cuts and editings. So I would actually ask all of you to maybe one positive takeaway from that social media, that short attention span era.
I'll give it.
Joe, I am nervous.
You don't need to be. It's bringing attention positively to locations that might not receive the attention. Wilson Castle is a prime example, right?
Which, by the way, we have an event every year that is incredibly fun, and you should check it out. Florida Paranormal Preservation Society.
It's the best event they see all year.
100%.
But in that aspect, a lesser known location, not your Trans-Allegheny Eastern State Penn, but like a Wilson Castle, a Chase Manor in New York, that might not get the national television attention, is going to garner attention from the YouTubers and actually have more people driven towards them. So that's one positive thing that I can say about the YouTube.
Matt.
It is. It brings attention not only to locations, but to teams that are doing their thing. Like, I get recognized publicly sometimes. It's very weird.
It's the jacket.
I don't wear the suit publicly. I have some respect. But no, it's knowing that, like, I have like my merch. Right? There's people wearing it in all these different continents. They order it, they ship it to Australia and all these other places, and that's cool as hell. Like, without social media, that wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have people in the next town over wearing it because they wouldn't know about us. So if we know how to harness social media for, the betterment of the field, like most of us do, then it definitely works for you. Like this event today is here and put together, people came here from all over the country because of social media. I didn't send out postcards and shit, I called people, it's weird, so you can put it out there and let it travel on its own, so. If you know how to use it, it's much better than not.
Sarah?
Well, look, I do have a YouTube show, Paranormal Blonde, and without that, I would have never met Get Home. So to be honest with you, I think it is an amazing way, then right, the tentacles reach out, you meet Warner and New England, and it's like this, it's an amazing opportunity if you take it. So I think there are a lot of positives to what they both said. I mean, I think that it does bring attention. We do live interactive investigations, and one thing that I love about those is that it does, for people who won't go out, we have a couple very loyal followers who they just don't go out and do it. So they appreciate that time with us, that we put the investigators out there and the person reviewing gets to say, hey, can they do this experiment? And can they try this? Or hey, I just heard that. So it brings the community together, and we might not have all met each other. So that is a positive.
Rob?
Same, that's how I met Sarah. I did not want to go on any shows. Hers was first or second that I went on, and whatever, 4 or 5 months later, my business partner, when we go into, Phantasmicon and running into people that are not necessarily local from Tennessee or wherever they're from, and they had seen some of our shows or watched our lives, and it brings people together. So yes, it is a double-edged sword, but I guess, yeah, you're looking for a positive. Apparently I was too positive earlier. But yeah, it does, it brings people together. And the vast majority of our, of the guests that show up at our events found us through social media.
Does anybody, any questions from the gallery?
Yes, I have a 2-part question. The first part is, do you have psychic abilities that you depend on? And if not, how do you partner with people who have other psychic abilities?
Are you asking me specifically?
Anybody, anyone.
I don't know how to answer that, Rob. Do I have psychic abilities? I would never refer to myself as a psychic medium. I don't know that I have that, but I do know things. How do we partner with somebody that does? I've learned as I've gotten older. I think I was really opinionated as I was younger about this stuff. As I've gotten older and as I've met more people in the field, I think just partnering with anybody and however they use their gift or whatever their passion is to try, I'm all for it to watch it. I don't know, I don't rely on that part of it, I guess. I'm not sure how to answer that one because I don't know why I need your help, but I
Need help here. So
need
look,
your help here.
part one. Part one. Sarah, yeah, she'll never claim anything of it. She admits to knowing things now, but there have been times she freaks me out, or she'll just call me like, "Why did this just happen?" I'm like, "Dude, how do you even know that?" So, but whatever that is, right? Call it that. We don't feel like it's exclusive to anyone or anybody that's truly just part of one of the programs we teaches. But that intuition, we do believe that intuition, and Joe kind of mentioned, the longer you do this, you start to unlock these things for yourselves. But we don't purposely go out and seek out certain people. It seems like with Get Haunted, all the right people find us, right? Which leads to problems down the road, because sometimes they're the right people and they become not the right people. We can get into that later, but it's sort of like this bug lamp, right? And you got everybody coming in, and it's really, really cool. But I try not to depend on any of that. I'm not claiming I haven't, like Joe, I have intuition. I do know where to put the recorder sometimes, or I'll be like, this is the room we got to do next, right? And I think that's just honing your skills over the amount of time. But when you start depending on that, right, it can be disappointing to yourself, and you can, Sarah suffers from imposter syndrome. She just does. She does not want to be looked at as a fraud or as somebody that's kind of making shit up. So she's been very, very, shy about sharing what she's capable of. So we keep it kind of right in the middle of the road there. So it's probably not even an answer to your question. Just know that we don't go out looking for it. It seems to find us.
Did anyone else have something to jump in on that?
I mean, I know Joe's already said he doesn't have any abilities, but he does, he's a good guy. But,
That's your ability, you're a good guy.
Yeah, that's my ability. That's my
you're a good
wonderful
person,
talent.
Joe. I don't rely on my abilities because I don't understand them at all. They come out when they want to, and I've kind of closed myself off, and that's something that long-term goal I want to work on. I will rely somewhat on my senses to kind of, I've always said I'm like a human barometer. I can sense change in pressure and energy in a room, so I kind of rely on that to guide me through location. But the word rely is a strong word. I don't really rely on anything, I just kind of go with the flow. And working with others, I'm a skeptical believer. So just because someone comes in as this whirlwind psychic medium, you have to prove it to me. I'm not going to discredit you, but just because you say this, jerk heart stuff standing in the corner looking at us, I can't see it. I'm not going to take your word for it. I'll believe that you believe it, and that's fine. But I have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt, basically.
So I'll spin this back to you,
Mhm.
because you came out and supported Gar's Hall in the Situate Paranormal 101 presentation that I put on.
Mhm.
Did I mention the word psychic medium once during that presentation?
No, not at all.
That's my answer.
So, wow, mic drop. All right, so Joe's done answering questions for the evening.
And there's a reason why. Just leave it at that.
So one of the common threads through all of your answers to really a lot of the questions have had some form of root in accountability and credibility, right? You discussed the imposter syndrome, the different YouTubers and things like that. What's one thing that each of you do when presenting your experiences or results, or how you're processing your experience, that keeps yourself accountable to that level of credibility that you expect?
Discredit myself.
I already know your answer. You write things in the margins to exclude things so that you can process clean, which, if you were here last night, was a really great lecture.
Sometimes, right? But sometimes not. I don't even know if I understand the question.
Yeah, I gotta be
How do you
honest.
keep yourself accountable?
How do you stay honest?
How do you keep yourself credible? What are some of the things that you do when either
Credible to who? To myself?
to yourself? Because nobody, to me, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, credibility to yourself is far more important than credibility outward.
Well, it's where it starts, right? No, it's why I have an amazing circle of people around us, right? We sit and we discuss, sometimes at length, different experiences and what it could have meant or what it wasn't. It's very important. You have to be a skeptical believer in yourself as well, right? But again, this goes back to last night. It's understanding what we bring to the investigation, and to touch on what Joe kind of mentioned. If we go in somewhere, we know this location was a Revolutionary War era field hospital. Anything that happens there gets put into that Revolutionary War box. So you have to learn how to turn off that left side of your brain and stop creating stories around it, because we don't know what the truth is. If a guy shows up on a horse, everyone's going to think he's a Revolutionary War soldier. He might not. It might be the farmer from next door popping in to drop off some mail or something. I don't know. So you have to learn how to trust yourself, right? You need to understand what personal things may present themselves to you that would form a paranormal experience that maybe isn't exactly a paranormal experience. I don't know how else to say that. It probably sounds insane, but
I'm tracking. I don't know.
yeah. Okay, if you're tracking, then
Well, you can't really, Ian's different.
Oh, that's why we're sitting next to each other.
Oh, I get it.
But for the most part, you have to have a very strong circle of friends who will be honest with you and convince you to be honest with yourself.
You debunk as best you can, right? Prime example. This past summer, we did the Maritime Museum in Situate, Mass. Thought we had Class A EVP saying, Captain Harmony. Play the recorder. Everybody's like, oh my God, Captain Harmony. We need to fact check Captain Harmony. Couldn't find Captain Harmony. Week later, now you got the headphones on. One of us saying, on the property. Right? Called it right out. Guys, sucks, best EVP we got all night was one of us. I pulled evidence back that I've put out there that has been either debunked by myself, one of the teammates, or just somebody who saw it and said, hey, I think it's this, that, and that thing. You need to look into it. I've looked into it. They're right. Off it goes. So, just I put something out there that I think is a legitimate EVP. Like I know it's not a legitimate EVP, and I put it out there as, hey, I got this EVP. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? I'm kidding myself. So, what's the point? You know what I mean? That's why I got, problem with people that fake shit. But that's probably another question. That's a previous question.
I agree with that. I think it is really debunking or discrediting. I mean, look, if we're so willing to go out there and discredit somebody else like that, there's an example right now in the paranormal community. People are going after people that are very public, and the person going after them, or one of the many, discredit, they're full of shit. But look at, come watch mine, because I, for reals, with a Z, talk to dead people. So you discredit them, and then you tell me you're for reals. So if we can't be humble enough to look at ourselves before we're out there ripping on everybody else, then to me, you're not really in it to be an investigator or an explorer or researcher. You're just out there to go out there and say everybody else is bullshit, but I can talk to dead people. Okay.
I'm not understanding.
So how do you hold yourself accountable?
So I would discredit. I mean, ask him. I discredit all my experiences.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
So we have a level head and have good people around you. We have debunk, don't debunk. We have don't accept. Outright reject until the circle around you forces you to believe that it was something.
It truly, yes. I think what happens is it is a little bit of the imposter syndrome though, because you want to, and maybe it is a little bit of PTSD with people going out there, because I used to share things, and I wasn't saying it was something for sure, but you'd say, hey, here's a picture, this is very unusual. Oh, that's nothing, that's a plant. But then somebody, sorry for like orbs, but somebody posts a picture of an orb, and suddenly that's the end all be all of paranormal evidence, and it's like, what the hell?
Like maybe get an air filter.
Yeah, like I can't get somebody to look at, I can't look at my picture, but this orb is all the talk. So I think that it makes me question, but I'm not questioning to discredit anybody else's experience. I'm just questioning to understand what is happening, and I think that's the journey I'm on right now, is just becoming a little bit more mindful and aware. So everything doesn't make me jump, not everything makes me go, oh my God, this was for sure paranormal. So I want to be more mindful, because so many people discredit right away. So if I'm going to do it to somebody else, I should be able to do it to myself.
Matt?
I get way too much joy out of debunking everything. I love nothing more than seeing one of those blurry pictures that some idiot posts on Facebook with a red circle. What do you see? You see absolutely nothing, because there's nothing in your pictures. Pareidolia runs rampant everywhere. So, me, I do everything from my own personal experiences. I don't share my evidence because I don't prove anything anyway. I do all my investigations live because I'm lazy and I will never edit anything. And that way, you, the viewer, can see whatever the hell you wanted to see. We've had so many captures on our live feed, which, like Benjamin.
Yeah.
The The one, I think I posted that one piece of evidence all of last year was we caught the little boy Benjamin upstairs. I was sitting there TikTok live, phone on the tripod, not even paying attention. And someone said, "Do you see that?" And I was like, "I do see that." And this viewer happened to see the little boy that we interact with all the time. Took some still shots, Kim did some editing, and he didn't disappear. He was there in every version of the edit in the same fashion. That to me was strong enough to be like, you know what? You can come for me all you want, bring your pitchforks, I'll put this up, because I fully believe that that's actual evidence. I don't have the ears for EVPs. I hear shh, that's it. And whatever someone told me to hear. I hear baggage going demon. That's all I hear every time. Take a stab. You heard the one I got. When someone calls me a piece of shit, I always say that. I do. So, yes, that's not to say every EVP I don't hear. Most of them I'm just like, you guys have your phone with your little Dr. 60. It's cool. So yeah, I just live stream all my stuff. I don't present any evidence unless I'm bulletproof sure. And most of it you can't do because, like Rob said, there's always that person who's big, no. And
Yeah.
that's it.
We barely share anything. Really. A couple of EPs every now and then, but it's just not worth it. You know, if you're not out presenting it, then nobody's gonna tear you apart.
So, just I guess we have a little bit of time left. I think we have like 15 minutes left. Does anyone else have a question or want to button us up? All right. So I guess. Did you have a question? No. Well, I mean, just because you're okay with me, you can't ask each other questions.
No, I already know these three.
Okay.
Well.
Are you out of the question?
No. So I'm afraid of stepping on a landmine. So what's your personal opinion now?
Is this the pipe bomb section?
Yeah. Let's put it in the stuff. No, so you guys have mentioned stuff. So three of you have mentioned the term demon, right? And so we talk about a lot of different energies that are in places. And there are preconceived notions of when you go into a place that there is some kind of malevolence or some kind of evil spirit inhabiting. I just kind of want your personal take on that. You know, we've talked off panel about kind of you and I, Rob, a little bit about it. But what's your take on the idea of the benevolent or the malevolent spirits that may or may not inhabit particular locations or objects?
They're not demons. They're not. You're going to be the same person you are when you die. We all are. If you're a complete, total douchebag in the real world, when you die, you're not going to just be this saint all of a sudden. You're just going to be an invisible prick. And you're going to do the same stuff you did in the real world in this new world you're living in. And those people are what many people want to label a demon. That's my theory. That's my take on it.
So can I ask you this then?
I don't know,
So,
we can ask me. Yeah.
so when we pass and we suddenly become consciousness, we're at one with the universe, we're suddenly void this bullshit that makes us the prick on earth. You don't think once we die and our consciousness opens up that we don't let the earthly bound things stay where they belong? That doesn't mean people, that there's not
That's if you
negative.
believe that's what happens afterwards. This energy is just going to go somewhere else. I think I'm just going to be living another cool ass life in another existence after this one. I'm not coming up. I can tell you that.
Well,
I don't buy it up and down. I'm just moving on to the
Yeah, and I'm
next
not
step.
talking Christian narrative, I was just thinking, like, I hear people use that a lot, that if you were a dick on earth, you're gonna be a dick in the afterlife, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think that.
You're a good person. You're a really Unitarian, because Matt couldn't articulate it any better than I think it exactly along the same lines. If you were a dick on earth, you're gonna be a dick in death. And I don't think just because you like Hitler's gonna be the best guy just because he died.
Yeah, he's not going
But
to.
he's not Hitler anymore.
Then who is he?
Well,
Jesus
that's,
Adolf now.
that's.
You know what I'm
but-
saying? I mean, I'm not saying he can't work to be that,
But we're.
but I don't think it's gonna be like a switch, like I'm an asshole and like I'm dead. Hey,
But that's what he
what
wasn't,
a
but that's
jerk
what he
I
wasn't.
was.
But you think the soul gets into weird cleansing type
I
thing when we die?
believe, and I don't use Christian narrative, so I don't use the word demon. I just don't. There is negative, there's positive. We talked about Taoism, we talked about Buddhism. You have to have negative, you have to have positive. So I do believe there's negative energy. You have to have it. What does that mean? I don't know. Was it living energy of a person? Was it just something in the universe? I don't know. That we won't ever know that, right? But I think that sometimes we as living people can't even express what can happen when we pass and what happens to our consciousness. So when we do come across something negative, let's say you're at your grandfather's house and he was grumpy Ed, and it's what everybody said. And we know when you go to somebody's house that was an asshole, you just feel it. You just know it. You go into their house, you're like, ugh, right? That's just because we all shed that energy. But does that mean that he's still grumpy on the other side? I don't know that I believe that. I have a hard time.
I don't think there's a clear-cut answer.
I don't either.
You know what I mean? I think that maybe some change out of the gate, but I think that some don't.
But we're seeing it from the only way we can see it, and that is we know people to be dicks or we know them to be kind. Period.
I don't know what type of EVPs you got. I get called all kinds of fucking nasty shit. And I find it very sad to believe it's somebody that's repenting from being a dick.
But how do you know? It's a question, how do you know it's not from somebody in the group? How do you know that that shit's not manifested from somebody that's living
I
in
mean,
the group?
that's a fair statement. I don't know for sure. Just as I don't know for sure that that person who's telling me that. But just as I don't know that those voices on the recorder are spirits. How do I know that? I don't know it's not a.
We don't.
Right. So, you know, it's all.
I just find, for me, it's hard for me to think.
But that's what makes you a good person. And me not so good.
Rob, you're getting asked for an opinion.
You have to have
They're asking for you.
Well, no,
We got-
I was about to, honestly, I'm with.
Yeah,
I'm with
Stacy
you.
called
You're
you out,
a
Sam's
lot
asking.
You know, it's just, I knew where Sarah was gonna go. We've had this conversation many times, right? And, it's when we start throwing our understanding as human beings, right, into the other side, and some ego comes in, right? Because Joe's saying, I think what Joe's saying is, well, I got EVPs and those people were dicks, and maybe they think you're a dick.
100%.
We don't know, to
100%.
Sarah's point, but
But if they were really that good of a person, they'd forgive me. And give me a chance. And not tell me to go
What if that's
suck
how they
deep
connect
or-
with you?
sometimes they only,
True story.
but perhaps they only present how they know you're gonna get your attention. I don't know. But I think we're looking at this as, we tend to look at this as living human beings in this form, right? I don't know, like, I have a hard time, just like Sarah, thinking that, like, alive, my dad he was a tough dude, right? You both met him. One night.
Yeah.
Yes. That was a pretty nice encounter, right? It wasn't him being a hard ass, it was him coming back. But I'm also not sure that that's the only thing that's next, right? We tend to when we talk about ghosts, turn them into just a transparent version of the person that lived on this planet in this world. I don't know if that's actually right, and I don't even know if when Fred showed up that night, that was really Fred. You know what I'm saying? So it's a challenge. I also do not subscribe to, if you're a dick on Earth, you're going to be a dick in the afterlife. Mostly because that's a pretty huge assumption to make, considering everything else we just said, right? I don't think that we have enough evidence or proof to say that whatever's next is just a carbon copy of what we are today.
So 2 for, 2 against.
Well, yeah, and so I guess, and this is just kind of, I'm gonna jump in a little bit on this one, because I think it's really interesting. You guys brought up a lot of really good points. You guys are familiar with the prison experiment? So where they took 15 men as
Yes,
guards and
yes,
15 men as
yes.
prisoners. I think when they went in there, right, they weren't that person before they went in, and they weren't that person when they left. But while they were in that very specific mode and situation, they acted very unlike themselves. And so I think that maybe.
I was gonna say about that because I think that's part of it, right? Like, how do we know that when Joe was out that night doing his EVP, this is the part that we are not fully honest about as we investigate. I mean, why would you? Because it would eat so much time up. But you're not gonna walk into your investigation going, look, I just had a totally horrible fight with my spouse. She's such a dick, and this is what's going on. It was a shitty meal, and now we do this investigation. So how do you know whatever was going on with you and the energy you brought didn't just connect with somebody else? It doesn't mean that it belonged to Hitler. It could just be what we tied it with because of where we were at that time, right? So, yeah, I think that sometimes things, or what if you spurred something in that particular energy with your energy? I don't know if I've ever gotten an EVP that called me a bitch.
I have.
I'm not saying it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't know. I mean, so how do we know? How do we know that we're not somehow provoking that? I don't know.
Because I like it up, it's living life.
We really do. We really do.
I was doing good things at Wilson and to be called a piece of shit was very nice.
Well, I don't like that.
But this comes back to the box, right? Maybe that wasn't even from Wilson. Maybe you just have one that's following you around like this fucking guy.
I would say maybe that was geared toward me, but I specifically asked, what do you think of Matt?
Oh, you did, yeah, it was very specific.
Well, so I want to thank you guys for your time. We are coming up on the 4 o'clock hour here. We got 5 minutes left. I want to open it up for you guys, just to take a couple of minutes if you want, whether that's to promote something that you have coming up, shameless drop of an ad for anything you have going on, or any kind of closing statement you guys want to make, anything you want people to really take away from just your time up here.
We have a lot of good merch upstairs.
It's not going to help them, man.
We ship. Worldwide, cheap.
Link in bio.
Yep, that's all I got.
I want to say thank you actually to the Warner Paranormal Preservation Society for dreaming this up and having the balls to step up and do it. Because I think it's moments like these and watching the community come together at an amazing location. That's huge, man.
Yeah.
That was really huge. And to reach out to Rob and to ask us to come and do this with you has been an amazing opportunity. And I'm grateful to each and every person that has showed up and stopped to talk. And for last night, was this amazing night last night with everybody that chose to do the VIP experience. And to have Joe come back and this is great. This is what the community is truly about, I think. So when you hear there's always shit, no matter where you go. There's always going to be those that want to start rumors, that want to talk crap, that have something negative to say. But in the end, what I have seen is people step up and support each other. And so thank you guys for this opportunity.
No, I appreciate you guys coming out. It means a lot to me. So, I'll be real for a minute. I could have thought of better people to partner up with on something like this because I know your ideals are very similar to mine. And you do a good job of keeping Rob at bay. I've calmed myself down. So we're at a pretty good mellow level right now. Imagine we did this like 8 months ago.
No.
So I'm one of the few that has nothing to sell anybody. And I kind of pride myself on that fact.
All right, Joe.
But I will take the opportunity to thank my good friend Matt for putting this on. And I give him my full support. And
I'm sorry you just lost all those followers.
it's okay, I lost all 2 of my followers. And consider these 2 personal close friends, so support these guys as well. And who knows, you may see me out at a Get Haunted event as a paying customer in the future.
Dan, you remind me to raise prices. Yeah, Matt, thank you. When you reached out, this sounded perfect, right? We had like very, very similar mindsets when it comes to the paranormal and some of the insanity that comes with it. And all that insanity it comes from the living people, unfortunately. So when we talked, it was something Sarah and I, this was similar to something Sarah and I had been kicking around, like, oh, yeah, right? At the time, we didn't realize the timing, right? The time frame about what this was. So, and we were already in some shit anyway, so it was like, yeah.
Let's just get into some more.
Like, it was so
Never a
many
good time,
reasons.
never a good time for get haunted.
You know, it's been a crazy year, right? And we've watched a lot of if you've followed us at all, then you'll know. It can be tough, but at the end of the day, like Sarah said, seeing all these great people coming here, getting to know the new folks, the new friends that we have, spending time in this building, helping this building keep its doors open is really what it's all about. Being able to look past some things, which I think a lot of people need to do. There's probably at least 2 people in this building that talk shit about me, and I'll still walk up and give you a hug.
2?
3.
It's 3.
I
don't know if you're paying attention to the panel.
Well, no, I say me, I mean, yeah, Sarah, Joe even. But it does, that stuff needs to stop, right? Because, the community's small. And sadly, nobody knows how to keep their mouth shut. So when you want to talk or you want to spread rumors, everybody finds out. It makes no sense. So you might as well just say it out front and post it at this point.
That's not encouraging anyone alive to go out there and.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking you to do it. I'm just saying,
I kind of want to see that.
whoever you talk about is going to find out. But stop talking. Basically, we're all trying to get to the same place at the end of the day, and we're trying to learn and discover and explore. Cutting people down is not the way to get to the top. It's about, how you get there, not where you end up, and do it honorably and just be civil and be human beings. We got shit for coming here. I knew we would. But it's worth every bit of that shit to be here with people that want to be here and want to be a part of something that's more, that's about the community, that's really bringing people together. So for me, this was probably one of the worst but the greatest year I've ever had, getting to know so many more people. I mean, when you're down and out, you learn about who your real friends are. I mean, I had a lot more than I ever expected. So,
Oh, can I just add, if you hear something in the paranormal community, just remember you're only hearing one side. So be very careful about what you're hearing, because there are many people who like to be victimized and like to kind of throw out there that they've been done wrong. But you also need to ask yourself, what part did you play? So that's one thing we've learned, I think, at Get Haunted, is there's always a few different sides to the story. And again, social media question. People love to hear one side and run right with it. They don't like to check any facts or to maybe talk to the person that's being talked about and say, hey, look.
yeah, and we're not alone. We're not the only ones
Oh,
going
gosh.
through it. There's friends of ours going through it. Sadly, everybody wants to attack each other. It's got to stop, right? So, I think what we've done this year is we've kept our mouth shut for 99% of it. And that's what works. If you ignore the bugs, they eventually kind of go away. But really, think about what you're in it for. If you're in it for the clicks and the lights, then you're not probably in it for the right reasons. So just stay the hell out of everybody else's way and go do your own thing. And you're gonna have guys like Matt and myself yapping about jazz and Paranormal that hunts up all next year. No, it's been amazing, and I truly, again, thank you, Matt, for allowing us to be a part of this, and I hope to see everybody that's in here and get together sometime soon. Even Joe. Joe's pending. But seriously, it's been a real pleasure, and watching everybody get their table set up. We were late. I don't know what I'm not gonna say the name of
Stop.
But I just want to say it should not take 40 minutes.
Oh my God. You know what, go out, continue to
Oh my God.
40 minutes to get an A.
Hey, so the people on the side chat here are saying thank you for being honest and doing this live, and then the Get Haunted side pieces are saying thank you. So
We love our side pieces. And we are not saying, by the way, that we're perfect. We know we're not. I'll be the first to tell you, I got called out for something, and I was like, yep, I said that. And I still didn't. And it was supposed to be a private chat, which turned out to be.
Can we stop screenshotting shit?
Yeah.
Let's stop doing that.
But that's the big difference between, I think, us and the folks that like to spread this. They don't think I'll own it. I'll own anything I've done. But very publicly. So, yeah, screenshot business should stop too. But
Let's just talk about paranormal.
yeah, let's
Take the personal out of paranormal.
let's just figure out if you're dating this.
That's what gets to the bottom of
So are those people who are out there doing that, are they dicks now, so they'll be dicks later?
You don't even have anything to look forward to.
Joe, are you able to say hi and just give a little bit about yourself? They're asking for Joe.
Say that again?
Can you present yourself like
Who
as
are
far
you?
as who you are in the paranormal?
I am a fan of Warm Paranormal, Get Haunted. He's also a
Joe.
member of the society.
Joe, give you a little blurb bio, please.
Paranormal New England.
Okay. Paranormal New England, Joe Bernoni, new teammate Linda.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook and YouTube, so
Oh.
thank you for asking.
Ah!
Not one thumbnail in any of the videos. And everything's real.
Everything's real.
Well, guys,
Videos are 42 hours long.
Oh.
What is?
It's like your videos. So we know you're authentic.
I can't make that cut. You know, just can't make that. I gotta show it.
Can you say park the car?
Park the car. Thank you.
well, I want to thank you guys for taking the time. I greatly appreciate it.
Ian, great job on the
I
questions,
know,
by
you
the
need
way,
a
too.
show.
Great job.
Yeah, you did.
My ego is already too big to put me in front of a camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to be nice with the questions now.
Yeah.
But no, thank you guys for taking the time. Thank you for answering the questions. I am going to ask you about the candles. Once the live ends.
If another one came out, I'll believe it. What's that something?
Oh, the strikes. Those are my strikes.
Those were my wins.
Oh wow! All right. Only got to 2.
I was wondering where they came from.
So,
You don't want to know.
thank you guys. Seriously, I greatly appreciate your time. Thank you for answering my questions and knowing my idiocy. And I greatly appreciate you guys coming out to the event. Thank
Oh,
you so
Ian,
much
can
for
you
joining us.
say who you are? They want to know who you are
Oh, my name is Ian Murphy. I'm part of the Warner Paranormal Preservation Society. I do not have a link in bio, but I do have 2 strikes. So outside of that, guys, I'm really just a nobody. I'm just somebody else that was really interested in paranormal.
too. Yeah, that's so not true, dude.
That was it.
Strike that last. Ian is a big somebody.
Well, I am large. Yes.
He's a kind dick.
No. Yeah. Yeah. No.
The man does the mean Estes method.
Ooh.
I do. Yeah, I do enjoy essays. No, I'm someone that enjoys the paranormal. I like engaging in those experiences and really getting involved with the community. But outside of that, I don't have merch in bio. I certainly haven't done the work and the groundwork that you guys have done in the field and really kind of taken.
That's because we'll stop you from doing it.
Well, I mean, I know you're trying to.
But you're
hold it
in the
in
field
now.
and you're doing it now, and we love that.
Yeah, and so that's me.
Thank
that's all.
you.
He's a good dude.
I try to
Thanks for everybody who tuned in.
Thank you all at home. Thank you so much for joining us on the stream.
Yes.
And look forward to it again sometime. Seriously, there's.
I clearly